On the early morning of August 10th, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein died. His body was found inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, New York. Following an investigation, the Department of Justice officially ruled the cause of death as suicide. Epstein's death meant that the criminal proceedings against him were legally terminated, locking away a massive amount of cross-examination that would have implicated the global elite and bringing the systematic reckoning to an abrupt halt. But looking back, a massive question emerges. Epstein was a super elite with access to unlimited funds, intelligence-grade counter-surveillance, and the ability to mobilize top-level political interference at any time. So, why did this defense mechanism completely fail in 2019? How was he successfully thrown into a federal cell? And was it really a suicide? In this final chapter of the Who is Epstein series, we are pulling our focus back to a brutal 12-year frontline battle across the justice system and the media. We will objectively break down this incredibly harsh process, how local police, federal prosecutors, and investigative journalism faced devastating defeats, and how a few lone warriors refusing to surrender to evil fought with everything they had to tear open the darkness and let the light in. The first real judicial intervention in this case began in March 2005. The Palm Beach Police Department in Florida received a report from the stepmother of a 14-year-old victim, accusing Epstein of serious misconduct and exploitation at his oceanfront mansion. This seemed like a standard local public safety case, and Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reiter assigned veteran detective Joseph Recaray to officially open the investigation. In the early stages, the local police moved incredibly fast. Using traditional canvassing and interviews, Detective Recaray successfully identified 35 underage victims in just a few short weeks. At this point, the police had a solid grasp of how the network operated, the names of the recruiters, and details of the transactions. The witness foundation for the case seemed rock solid. But the investigation quickly hit a wall. Epstein spent a fortune hiring top-tier private investigator firms, heavily staffed with ex-Mossad or CIA operatives. Instead of targeting the police, these PIs launched precision campaigns directly against the witnesses. These private investigators used three main tactics. First, round-the-clock physical surveillance. Dark SUVs with out-of-state plates constantly showed up near the witnesses' homes, schools, and workplaces. This silent monitoring created immense psychological pressure, leaving them feeling constantly watched and terrified. Second, deep background checks. Using aggressive intelligence tactics, they pulled obscure public records to unearth any personal vulnerabilities. They used past indiscretions, juvenile records, or even a family member's financial crisis as leverage for blackmail. Third, direct pressure campaigns. They explicitly warned potential witnesses that if they testified, their darkest secrets would be exposed, leading to expulsion, job loss, or torn-apart families. The Palm Beach Police's chain of evidence collapsed rapidly. Individuals who had originally agreed to cooperate started retracting their statements en masse, refusing to speak with police, or moving away entirely to protect themselves and their families. With key witnesses gone, and the local state attorney's office showing severe reluctance when faced with Epstein's massive political network, the initial investigation ground to a halt. Facing Epstein's arrogance, Police Chief Michael Reiter decisively returned a $90,000 donation from Epstein and publicly demanded the state attorney recuse himself. But the state attorney not only privately accepted the compromised background reports from the defense lawyers, he even questioned the credibility of an individual to her face, and ultimately downgraded the charges to a minor offense, letting Epstein walk out on a mere $3,000 bail. the shield of capital completely crushed local justice in round one. But did justice stop there? No. The local police's defeat didn't kill the case entirely. By 2006, the sheer number of victims and the viciousness of the crimes caught the attention of the FBI and the federal prosecution system. The case was officially handed over to Assistant U.S. Attorney Marie Villafana. Her involvement escalated the case from a local issue to a major federal felony investigation. Facing a completely shattered foundation of witness trust, Marie showed incredible brilliance. She sharply realized that testimonies alone were absolutely not enough. To nail Epstein for good, they needed a web of objective, unalterable physical evidence. To get this, Marie spearheaded a targeted investigation codenamed Operation Leap Year. Operation Leap Year focused entirely on hard data. Flight log tracking. Prosecutors pulled all the flight records for the Boeing 727 private jet, dubbed the Lolita Express by the media. By cross-referencing passenger manifests with the victims' timelines, Marie proved Epstein's tracks of illegally transporting minors. Financial flow cross-referencing. The FBI scoured oceans of financial data from Epstein-linked accounts, locking onto a pattern of small, regular transfers disguised as massage fees or consulting fees flowing into the accounts of numerous young women. These bank records proved the financial chain of illegal transactions. Furthermore, Marie thought outside the box and opened a money laundering probe into Epstein, directly contacting his biggest financial backer, Victoria's Secret founder, Les Wexner. This brilliant move successfully convinced Wexner to pull his funding, directly cutting off Epstein's major cash flow. After that, Marie subpoenaed the victims again. Within the absolute safety of the federal prosecutor's office, she slowly rebuilt their trust and secured detailed testimonies. Finally, Marie and her team drafted a massive 53-page federal indictment, hitting Epstein with 60 federal felony charges. Under U.S. federal sentencing guidelines, if convicted on these 60 counts, Epstein was looking at life behind bars. On both a legal and evidentiary level, Marie's investigation was inches away from securing a total conviction. The net of justice seemed to be tightening. But what happened next showed the entire world what it truly means to be untouchable. Staring down 60 federal felonies and a bulletproof chain of evidence, Epstein's counter-strategy shocked everyone once again. He didn't bother fighting Marie in the courtroom over the evidence because he knew he couldn't win against hard facts. Instead, he spent a fortune assembling the ultimate dream team of defense attorneys in American legal history. The lineup was terrifying. It included top Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, former independent counsel Ken Starr, who led the Clinton impeachment investigation, and elite Florida criminal defense attorney Roy Black. The core strategy of this legal team was to strike from the top down. They completely bypassed Marie, the assistant prosecutor actually working the case, and leveraged their immense top-tier political connections to directly lobby and pressure her ultimate boss, then U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Alexander Acosta. This top-down pressure worked instantly. The FBI had everything ready to arrest Epstein in May 2007 as he traveled to the Virgin Islands. But the operation was abruptly called off just 2 days before, without any explanation. Even more shockingly, a scandal erupted within the investigation team itself. The head of the FBI's Miami Criminal Division was secretly dating Epstein's female defense attorney and used his authority to put intense pressure on Marie. During closed-door negotiations, the defense team not only used incredibly complex legal tactics to attack minor procedural details, but they also subtly wielded Epstein's massive political and business network as a weapon. They hinted to top prosecutors that escalating the case would inevitably drag in numerous Washington VIPs and Wall Street oligarchs on his client list, triggering an uncontrollable political chain reaction. After a long, highly opaque political chess match at the highest levels, federal prosecutors and the defense team reached one of the most controversial secret documents in U.S. legal history: the Non-Prosecution Agreement, NPA. Signed in 2007, this agreement wasn't just a slap in the face to Marie's hard work, it was a blatant mockery of the American justice system, containing 3 incredibly rare clauses that completely violated standard legal practices. Downgrading jurisdiction and dropping felonies. Federal prosecutors agreed to drop all 60 federal felony charges drafted by Marie. In exchange, Epstein would plead guilty to just 2 minor state-level solicitation charges in a Florida local court. Drastically reduced sentencing and privileged incarceration. The life sentence he was facing was forcefully compressed to a mere 18 months, and he was allowed to serve it in a county jail in Palm Beach, with incredibly lax security. An unprecedented immunity clause for unnamed co-conspirators. The agreement included a wildly abnormal clause, practically tailor-made for the elite. It meant that everyone involved in Epstein's network of interests, from wealthy clients to low-level recruiters, automatically received a get-out-of-jail-free card without even having their names registered. This legally severed any chance for prosecutors to track down other accomplices. On top of that, the signing process itself was a severe procedural violation. It completely breached the mandatory requirement of the U.S. Crime Victims' Rights Act, which states prosecutors must notify victims before reaching a plea deal. The entire compromise and transaction were done in secret, keeping the victims completely in the dark. Ultimately, Epstein only spent 13 months in jail, and during that time, he enjoyed an absurd work release privilege. He was allowed to leave the jail for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, to handle business at his private office in Palm Beach. By 2009, Epstein was released essentially unscathed. At that point, the federal justice system's investigation was completely blocked. You think that's the worst of it? This was actually just the beginning of the victim's despair. After Epstein successfully used the non-prosecution agreement to walk free, the case entered a long, freezing winter. With the doors to the courtroom closed, the battle shifted to the court of public opinion. The truth is, the victim's resistance had started long before. Back in 1996, victim Maria Farmer had reported Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the FBI using her real name, but it completely sank without a trace. In 2011, a key witness in the case, Virginia, was watching the news when she saw Epstein, post-release, still living large and even taking a public stroll with Britain's Prince Andrew in New York's Central Park. That photo cut her deep and made her feel the crushing weight of injustice. She decided to cross borders and expose the truth to the British outlet, the Mail on Sunday. She sat down for an in-depth interview, publicly accusing Prince Andrew of involvement for the first time, trying to rip open a hole in the cover-up. However, things didn't go the way she thought. Right before publication, the newspaper, terrified of the massive risks of crossing the British royal family, deleted all the core allegations regarding Prince Andrew, whitewashing the whole story into a mere romantic scandal. At the same time, Epstein activated his PR counterstrike. He paid top dollar for elite crisis management PR firms in New York, who began secretly and methodically feeding negative background information, opposition research, about the victims to mainstream U.S. media. This smear campaign was pure evil. To make matters worse, because Virginia had accepted a $160,000 photo licensing fee from the newspaper, The PR team latched onto that, launching a catastrophic, internet-wide slut-shaming campaign against her. The PR machine intentionally magnified the troubled family backgrounds of some victims, highlighting old drug histories, minor theft records, or pasts working in low-end service jobs. As a result, Virginia, who had bravely stepped forward, was painted as an extortionist, a liar, and a prostitute, while other victims were branded as entirely untrustworthy. Driven by this mudslinging, the legitimacy of the accusations was entirely dismantled in the public eye. Public attention was successfully diverted, and most victims, unable to bear the pressure, chose to hide their identities. The case fell into years of dead silence, and Epstein's fortress of safety seemed truly impenetrable